Well, this week's episode is jam-packed full of family drama, and I think it might be one of my favourite episodes yet. We get Emily, Chilton, Paris, we get no Max. Winning. You need me to be with you, I will follow. Hi, I'm Bridgette and I'm back. Just to say, my particular sense of humour is very cynical. So don't take anything I say too personally, okay?
Moving on.
Let's get straight into the messy recap. If you're out on the road. Rory is a friend and neither her or Lorelai have any taste in boys or men.
And that's what you missed on
Gilmore Girls. Kidding. Lorelai Gilmore is obsessed with snow and cares not for her health nor heating bills. Max Medina continues to be irksome and continuously leaves persistent voicemails until they finally end up going on a date, and I guess they're dating now. Yay. Stars Hollow residents reenact the Battle of Stars Hollow in the freezing cold, and Angel Luke provides them with hot drinks because he's kind like that. But then he ends up seeing Max and Lorelai together, and it broke his heart and mine too. Emily Gilmore panics about food because the cook is snowed in, and Rory makes them pizza as a substitute. After being a terrible friend to Lane, Rory Gilmore gets snowed in at her grandparents' house, finds a picture of her mum and dad together from back in the day, and returns home to find her English teacher has slept over and doesn't appear to be leaving anytime soon.
And that's what you missed on
Gilmore Girls. Friday night seance is truly back. We love to see it. So Richard Gilmore is away in Prague, although our Queen Emily pronounces it Prague.
Your grandfather called last night and told me to let you know he's bringing you back something very special from Prague.
Wow, Prague.
But given she is royalty, we will defer to Queen Emily's version of the pronunciation. So Prague it is going forward. At the table, Lorelai Gilmore is acting like a toddler, Kel Surprise, and playing with the food on her plate. We're not even a minute into the episode and she really just can't help herself. So apparently there is a Chilton formal and I am hyped because surely that means the return of Paris Geller. I have missed Paris immensely and I feel like she abandoned me and left me with the wretched Gilmore Girls. I need backup, Paris. So they're discussing the formal and Lorelai doesn't even know about it because she doesn't read the Chilton newsletter, but Emily Gilmore does. Now, to be fair on Lorelai, I wouldn't read it either. But Emily has more time on her hands and she is invested in Rory because she is indeed paying for her entire education. For some reason, Rory doesn't want to go to the formals. By the way, that's a dance for you British folks. Lorelai, trying to be cool mum, says to Emily that she doesn't have to go if she doesn't want to. But then on the way home, she does question why Rory doesn't want to go and basically tries to convince her to go. This lady is a hypocrite of the highest order.
If the reason you don't want to go is because you really don't want to go and not because you are in any way afraid, then this is the last time I'll mention it. I promise.
Reverse psychology much. Rory doesn't want to go to the dance because she feels like nobody at Chilton likes her. And I would feel sorry for her, but I am still reeling from the way that she treated Lane in the last episode. And it's probably going to take a small miracle for me to turn back round. Anyway, Lorelai's manipulation appears to have worked on Rory because now Rory is like, I don't have a dress. And Lorelai says she can make her one. I had forgotten all about Miss Lorelai's random sewing skills that the writers just threw into the mix where she could just whip up a dress. So we're back in Stars Hollow and wow, the weather really did take a turn for the worse. We really jumped from fall to winter in 2 episodes. Rory is again using our beloved Lane as a sounding board for her utter nonsense. She's worried about asking stupid Dean to the dance because she's afraid that he's going to say no. Now, I don't know what she's basing him saying no on because obviously if you supposedly like someone and they supposedly like you back, then they should be willing to do a small thing like go to your school's dance, right? But then again, Dean. So Lane is also confusion and she's like, why would your boyfriend not want to go with you? And Rory's like, he's not actually my boyfriend but my gentleman caller. Rory really thinks she's in a Jane Austen novel. Give it up. So Lane offers sage advice to somebody who really doesn't deserve it and Rory relents and says, okay, she's going to go to the grocery store and ask Dean to go to the dance with her. So Rory goes in the store and Dean really acts like he's never seen her in his life and he asks her to help with stacking shelves. And I'm so sorry, are you paying me to do that? Because if not, it's a no from me. That's your job. Anyway, after going on a long, unrelated diatribe, Rory finally gets to the point and asks Dean to the dance. And Dean acts like only Dean knows how by saying it's not how he would usually spend his time. I know, honesty is the best policy, but this is somebody that you're interested in. Could you try and pretend at least? God, what do these two even talk about? What do they have in common? He does finally realise that it's obviously important to Rory, but then he starts complaining about what he's going to wear. So Lane is waiting outside for Rory like the angel that she is, and honestly, her face lighting up when Rory comes out of the store is just so heartwarming. We stan Lane for now. So Coco Chanel is apparently in the Gilmore Girl house. Miss I can't cook anything, but I can design and mock up an entire ball gown. Gilmore is working on the finishing touches to Rory's dress. But then she falls over and ends up straddling the mannequin. Suki pops over with extra thread and some pills because Lorelai's obviously hurt her back.
I couldn't help but wonder.
Does Lorelai deserve this friendship? These Gilmore Girls really do have it all, don't they? So the phone rings and I'm silently saying a prayer that it's not Max. And it's not. Don't worry, it's Emily, who is looking superb, by the way. Style icon. She's calling to say to Lorelai that she really thinks it will be a good idea if Rory goes to the dance because she'll regret it if she doesn't. Sound familiar, doesn't it? The way these two mirror each other is no joke, apart from the fact that one does it a little bit more elegantly than the other. So Lorelai says to Emily, why doesn't she come over so she can take pictures of Rory in her dress, which is really nice. Okay. So the good news is we're back at Chilton. The bad news is Tristan's still there. I thought we got rid of this guy. We're really just swapping out one annoying guy for another. But on the bright side,
guess who's back? Back again.
Paris is back! Disappointingly, she still seems enamoured by the charmlessness of Tristan, and she's clearly vying for his attention. So she's working on the booth selling tickets to this winter formal, and it is kind of clear that she doesn't have a date. I actually don't think I could have coped with being a teenager in America. The stress, the pressure. We didn't really have things like formal dances. I mean, I didn't go to a posh school, so maybe people did, but we just had school discos and proms. But with the proms, you could just go with anyone. You could go with your mates. You didn't really have to be out here looking for a date. Having to find a date to go to a dance would have been my idea of hell. But then again, having to go with someone like Dean would have been worse. So Tristan compliments Paris, and I really don't understand what his end game is, because I'm pretty sure he fancies Rory. I guess he's just a guy who likes to keep his options wide open, because my man spots Rory in the queue and starts flirting with Rory. Tristan asks Rory why she's buying her own ticket, because apparently the guys are supposed to buy them, and then he asks her to go to the dance with him. And Rory knocks him back gently.
You'd have to be stupid to think that given our history, I would ever, barring a piano or a safe falling on my head, want to go anywhere with you.
Get him up, let him get up, let him get up, let him get up.
Honestly, at least she had the good sense to step away from one irritating guy, but if she could just keep that same energy for Dean, would be good. Tristan takes the knock back like an incel. Paris is vexed because somehow she overheard their conversation and she's like,
Idiot.
oh, Paris, you're better than this. Tristan is not it. Anyway, in her blind rage, she starts shouting at the guy next to her. This guy in the queue behind Rory is absolutely unfazed and unbothered. Absolutely unbothered.
You know what? I don't want my change. Money makes people shallow.
I've got your change.
Rory is sassy. She gives as good as she gets to Paris, so I absolutely do not feel sorry for her. Back at the Gilmore Girl house, and Rory actually looks super cute in the dress that Lorelai magically whipped up for her. Also, her wearing those boots is me at anything formal. I don't care if I'm going to a wedding. I don't care if I'm wearing a ball gown. I'm wearing my Dr. Martens all day, every day.
I said what I said.
Emily turns up to take a picture of Rory in her dress, and it's anticlimactic.
She has lived with you too long.
Anyway, Dean arrives to take Rory to the dance and he honks the horn. And Emily Gilmore is not having a single bar of it. She wants Dean to walk up, knock on the door and come in like a civilized individual. Obviously, this is a lot, but I don't like Dean. So to me, that is fair. So the kids leave for the dance and Emily ends up staying because she's like, Lorelai, you literally can't move. I have to stay and help you. This is Lorelai's worst nightmare, but it makes me think back to the episode where Emily found that picture of Lorelai on crutches where she'd obviously broken her leg. It looks like she's trying to make up for lost time, so it's kind of cute. On the way to the dance, Rory is still umming and ahhing over whether she's going to go to the dance or not. It's like, girl, I know you're going, you know you're going, we all know you're going. Stop this nonsense. But then Dean compliments Rory, and that's the final nail in the coffin. For you shall go to the ball. Now, back at the Gilmore Girls house, and the worst thing happens. You know when someone gives you a gift and you didn't really want it and you don't really need it and you kind of hate it, but you know that there's going to be a day when they're going to come round and they expect to see the gift that they bought you. So you hide it somewhere, and then when they come round, you get out the ugly, unnecessary gift. Well, that happens. Emily's like, where are those crystal chandeliers that I bought you? And Lorelai's like, funny you should ask, because I actually exchanged them for a monkey lamp. Now, I also have zero need for crystal candlesticks, but I can tell you one thing, I would not have exchanged them for that ugly lamp.
How could you?
At least get the money. That lamp is ugly. Okay, so the Chiltern dance is not like other girls. This be fancy. Dean is still acting hella obnoxious, and the way he grips up Rory's arm. Is it me, or does it look like she's in imminent danger? So those girls from, I can't remember how many episodes ago, Paris's posse, are sitting down at the dance and they look bored as hell. So because they're bored, they decide to go and torment Rory. On the upside, I finally get to learn their names. It is Louise and Madeline. Now, I don't know which is which, but it is progress. So the blonde one starts flirting with Dean, but he only has eyes for Rory, and so he snubs her. Paris comes over and she looks great. I love that colour on Paris. So Dean and Rory slow dance together, and Tristan is looking on mad as hell. What is this guy's problem? He has it bad for Rory. Why am I not surprised? Literally everyone does. Anyway, his date comes out of the bathroom and he is not remotely interested in her. So Emily Gilmore is on full-on nurse duty, and she makes some mashed banana on toast for Lorelai, which does look disgusting, but it's such a cute exchange. And she's trying so hard to be there for Lorelai, but ultimately Lorelai is an adult, contrary to popular belief, and she has been taking care of herself for the longest time. So Emily's kind of not needed. So it's like a bittersweet but cute moment. Back at the dance, and Paris's date comes over and makes a pass at Rory. This is ridiculous, guys. But anyway, we find out that Paris's date is actually her cousin that was forced to come with her, and Rory loves hearing this news.
Paris is your cousin. You're related.
Yeah.
Jacob, it's been very nice to meet you. I hope you have a lovely evening.
You see, this is why I have no empathy for Rory. Emily and Lorelai are having a really nice bonding moment.
You know what, Mom? I made the dress.
You did a lovely job.
Thank you.
With Rory and the dress.
We love a remorseful queen. Back at the dance, Dean's had enough, even though they've literally danced once, and he wants to get out of them. Rory's like, okay, cool, I'm coming. So they're getting ready to leave when Paris comes over, and she wants to know if Rory's going to tell anyone about the fact that she's had to bring her cousin as a date. But in her blind rage, her voice is a little bit raised, and she ends up telling everybody at the dance anyway. And it's, I feel so sorry for Paris. So Dean and Tristan meet. It's actual insanity for no apparent reason. Tristan, who is clearly elitist, takes a cheap shot at Dean. Now, some of you may want me to feel sorry for Dean, and to that I say, what's the weather like where you are? It's actually really sunny here. I'm quite pleased about that. Doing anything nice this weekend? Anyway, then it's on like Donkey Kong.
Round one, fight!
And then Dean says this.
You don't want to fight me, Tristan? Why not? Because I'll kill you, idiots!
If that is not the biggest red flag in the history of red flags, I don't know what is. What do you mean? You are 15, 16 years old. Have you done jail time? Have you got a dark past? I knew there was something dodgy about this guy. Rory, run. This guy is
Terrifying.
Dean and Rory are walking back home after the world's most ridiculous fight, and Dean calls it and says, look, Rory, Tristan fancies you. That's what all these shenanigans are about. And Rory's like, who, me?
Go.
If you don't stop this. So on their walk, Rory accidentally calls Dean her boyfriend, and then she tries to take it back. But they end up deciding that being in a relationship is the way forward, locking her into a relationship with a guy who I'm pretty sure Crime Watch has their eye on. They stop off on the way home at Miss Patty's establishment, which is very much closed, so it's giving breaking and entering, which is probably no stranger to the likes of Dean. So Rory brought a book to the dance, and that is quite honestly relatable. I've done that before. So Dean starts reading the book and gets comfortable on the beanbags. They get so comfortable that they fall asleep for the entire night. What did they take? Why are they knocked out? Did they take temazepam before they left? Was the punch at the dance laced with nitol? You cannot tell me they were that tired. They literally danced to one slow song and bounced. Be so fucking for real. Anyway, Miss Patty is opening up for a yoga class, and you already know how the nosy people of Stars Hollow stay. They are just watching over the two of them like, what? Oh my God, it's Rory. Miss Patty ends up shaking them away. But the more important question is, who is getting up at 5:30 a.m. for a morning yoga class? Could absolutely never ever be me. So back at the Gilmore Girls' house, and Emily and Lorelai are freaking out because Rory has not come home. Again, why are you asleep? Why have you not checked that your teenage daughter is at home and in bed? How can nobody stay awake in Stars Hollow? Miss Patty calls up Lorelai and is like, don't worry, I've seen Rory at my shop. Her and Dean fell asleep. She's on her way home now. Emily and Lorelai get into it. Emily's like,
She's going to get pregnant.
Ouch.
No, she's not. She's going to ruin everything just like you ruined everything.
No, she's not. No, she's not. No, she's not.
Damn.
Rory is a good kid, Mom. She's not me.
What kind of mother are you to allow this to happen to her?
Oh, I don't know, Mom. What kind of mother were you?
You're going to lose her. You're going to lose her.
This is deep. Lorelai ends up kicking Emily out of her house. And do you know what? It's such a shame because they were getting on so well. Damn you, Rory. So Rory ends up coming home and Lorelai screams at Rory, clearly because some of what Emily has said to her has hit home. And she doesn't want Rory turning out like her. And honestly, Oscars all round. I don't usually like to break the fourth wall and talk about the actors. I prefer to just talk about the characters. However, this performances from all three Gilmores was chef's kiss. Rory needs to be more apologetic. I get that it was an accident, but you still stayed out all night. Oh my God. If that was my mum, woo, child, I would not be here making these Gilmore Girls videos. I can tell you that much. I remember one time I went to an underage dance thing without telling my mum, and my mum came looking for me in her nightgown and slippers. And all I can say is I never did that shit again. Anyway, the episode ends with Lorelai and Rory being at odds with each other, and it's not looking great for the Gilmore Girls. Rory is still pretty spoiled, and I don't like the way she panders to Dean, but it is her first relationship, I guess. Lorelai was pretty solid in this episode, and she was making headway with Emily, so she goes up a little. Plus, her dressmaking skills were A+. Emily Gilmore was super maternal, and she was one proud grandma. She did swerve a bit at the end, as she was worried about Rory being out all night, and she was a bit disrespectful to Lorelai. Lane, incredible friend, gold star. Paris needs to get over Tristan because she's better than that. Tristan and Dean, incels. And that's it. This may have been my favourite episode so far, which is why it's so long. And we're really getting into the nitty-gritty of the interpersonal relationships. I'll see you next week for more mess. Okay, bye. If you like my Gilmore reviews, subscribe and I will do more for you. Subscribe.